I'm going to introduce to you Rick and Maria. They are giving us an update on Sue Bonnie and CSAS.
Hello there. How's everybody doing today? It's early afternoon.
I'm very, very good.
Bring your pet, and bring your pet to you want to go first, Sonia?
Yeah, so we're the co-founders of
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all our sons' command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Yeah!
God bless everyone. Thanks for all coming out.
Come on.
Awesome. Thanks. I have no idea.
All right, go for it.
Odessa Orlowitz. Thank you guys for coming.
Hi, Odessa.
So I send very direct texts to my friends, and I texted a couple people and said, are you guys out a ton of money for doing the Bill 36 recall and the amount they've spent on printing alone, gas, and all sorts of things, website? And they're like, yeah, but we don't want, I'm like, okay, be quiet. So I'm asking if everybody's got a toonie or a loonie or $5 or 25 cents, it all adds up. And we are gonna give this to the Bill 36 team, even though Rick didn't want me to do that. So it'll go to Salvatore and Rick's expenses and their expenses, because they truly are out a lot of money. And the fact that this made the Vancouver Sun, and they so desperately did a hit piece on all three, I got dragged into that too, I don't know how. They've made a big difference. So if you have 50 cents, guys, anything will help. Let's help them reimburse their cost, which doesn't even help with the time spent.
Right.
Otherwise, give them a big hug. Thank you so much. This is the bag you can donate to, and I'll give it to them, okay? Oh my God, okay, I gotta get down.
Yep.
Thank you.
We're just going to wait a couple minutes here, because look at all the generosity. When you're doing something worthwhile, this is what I'm talking about. People are stepping up right now in any way they can. People are donating their own time. Myself, Marcella, we've gone out, we've canvassed, we've donated. We've been to the town halls. We've brought people to the table to do their part. And every one of you that are helping Rick right now and Team Fight 36, it is really a good cause.
This is a time in history that every one of you that is here today plays a part. Odessa talked about the Vancouver Sun hit piece. I had a little think about that, and I thought, the great and wonderful thing about the Vancouver Sun writing that article is that I will forever go down in the history of British Columbia, in Vancouver, and in Canada as somebody who has stood up for your rights, for my rights, for medical freedom, for all of Canada. James is here, you're here, we have done this. Thank you to the Vancouver Sun for history in the making.
Well, aren't we lucky, everybody? I mean, look at the community spirit here. Every single one of you. You know, love is essential. Love is essential. Everybody say this with me. Love is essential. Fear is the virus. When we allow our own government to treat us like they're our parents for 3 years because people want to live in fear, you give up your fundamental rights, and we can never, ever let that happen again. So the first step is we got to clean house. And that means David Eby's got to go.
Thank you.
All right, so we have Ian Glass up here next. I mean, this guy has been to so many Stand United rallies, other rallies. He's a hardworking man himself. He's a registered massage therapist, okay? So if anybody needs a massage after this, just go see Ian. But, wow, is he ever a scrapper and a fighter? And I love to see him all dressed up like this too, because, you know, he could be running for mayor of Vancouver, right? Come on, ladies, don't hold back. Anyways, Ian, have fun.
Good afternoon, Vancouver. Can you make some noise for James and Marcella? There are so many hard, incredible working people, and they are at the forefront of all of that. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, nor am I a historian. I am a humble private sector healthcare worker. My blistering dissent and my opinions are my own. As the narrative of 15 days to flatten the curve has now turned into 15-minute cities, I want to share my profound gratitude to all of you and to everyone else who was not fooled. And for everyone else, the moment that you begin to have doubts is the moment that you start, there is a seed there of personal responsibility to journey for yourself towards the truth. Take a deep breath, please, and strap yourself in. Courtesy of the Holocaust Memorial Library, Stage 1 of genocide is classification. The differences between people are not respected. Us versus them is the overlaying theme. There is a division and an exclusion, including stereotypes, for those who are different and or perceived as dangerous. Stage 2 is symbolization. There is a visual manifestation of hatred. Jews were forced to wear a yellow Star of David. In 2020, people were forced to wear a mind control device which had nothing whatsoever to do about stopping a virus. Those who willingly wore the device hated those who chose not to, and all of those who wore them knew either consciously or subconsciously that that device did not work. Stage 3 is discrimination. The dominant group denies civil rights and even citizenship to those they do not seem fit. No jab, no entry. No jab, no job. Stage 4 is dehumanization. Jews were compared to rats as vectors for spreading lice. We've had many different slurs, many different names, including baby killers, anti-vaxxers, grandma killers. Stage 5 is organization. Genocides do not just happen. Genocides are planned. Follow the patents, follow the money, and look at who is perpetrating this crime. Stage 6 is polarization. Propaganda is used to incite hate. It only took one newspaper and one radio station in World War II to incite that hate. Here in Canada, there's plenty to choose from. I'm going to read from the Toronto Star. We are looking at August 26, 2021, not that long ago. The front page stated, to which I read, "If an unvaccinated person catches it, boo-hoo, too bad. I have no empathy left for those who are willfully unvaccinated. Let them die. I honestly don't think there was ongoing civil war that could be blamed. The final solution was very much a genocide using the gas Zyklon B. And in 2020, the spike protein of the SARS-CoV-2 virus is the bioweapon itself. That is precisely the same spike protein which the falsely advertised injected gene therapies produce in your bodies. Stage 8 is persecution. Victims are identified and targeted and segregated into ghettos and or deported or starved. Enter the COVID quarantine camps, which were produced here in this country only as of October 2020. Stage 9, experimentation, self-explanatory, and stage 10 is denial. The perpetrators, or those holding the narrative, try to divert the blame away from what they have done. Does that sound familiar to you? October 31st last year, published in the Northern Atlantic by Emily Oster, the mainstream media cartel had the unmitigated gall to ask you for amnesty, for you to kindly forgive and forget their crimes, so in the future, more than likely, they can pull this out again through another pandemic or perhaps through an artificial engineered climate emergency. Despite all the data, logic, and reason, the COVID-19 injection remains to be advertised everywhere you go, everywhere across this country, on bus stop ads, on the radio, and in the news. Now, why might that be? Perhaps your government would prefer it if you were dead. Perhaps if SADS, sudden adult death syndrome, in the pharma theater play of real life, is in fact not created by a sleeping position, genetic disorder, or cold weather, but in fact is directly related to the COVID-19 injection. Perhaps if our societal and individual moral compass is not strong enough, and rationalistic thinking and reasoning is the most important virtue, perhaps is not only logical, but it is necessary to have authoritarian control, to rule medicine with an iron fist, and to tell you that government always knows best in terms of what to put into your body, and we should not in fact be surprised with our current circumstance. If any of that, satire or otherwise, is at all true, you can't trust what the CDC has to say anymore. You can't trust what the FDA has to say anymore, nor can you trust Health Canada. And with the implementation of Bill 36, unless you're willing to pay a $200,000 fine or go to jail for you, your doctor or medical provider will not be able to give you information that you can trust either. Okay, this is not a drill. This is the final stand for scientific integrity and the final stand that we have here in BC to prevent complete disaster that will change our healthcare system and become the template for the rest of our country to follow. We do not need government overreach to tell us what to do, how to live our lives, or what to put into our bodies. What we need is a strong citizenship of well-informed people with strong moral compasses who are willing to be engaged and who are determined to get nothing less than the complete truth. What we need is you. Act accordingly. Be brave and be courageous and be nothing less than Canadian. Thank you.
All right, everybody, let's hear it one more time for Ian Glass, please. We're very blessed. We're very blessed to have so many wonderful people standing up on the right side of history with us. So here's another guy. He's always got some great answers, some great dialogue, and he works on his initiative as well. So Union of the People and Sadiq. So come on up here, Sadiq. And you can bring your Poochie. We're Poochie friendly here.
How you guys doing? So who remembers 9/11? Yeah. Who remembers World War II, World War I, the Titanic, and numerous other things? What's the core thing that brings them all together? It's all scams. And at the core of it all is the huge financial scam that we've been in for the last 100 years. What we're seeing are the fruits of this scam. The ability to treat us this way, for us to be at this level, to cause this much divide, is a product of a skewed financial system. Personally, I was quite young when 9/11 happened. People were running around talking about terrorism and shit. I was like, I don't even know what terrorist is. What are you guys talking about? Then I got a little older and you start to see other things, the fake wars and all these things. I was involved in many of these protests along the way, and it's always the same thing. People getting together to try to make a stand against oppression, but they're so good at the divide and conquer, doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
The last 10 years, 10 years ago, I was a tax consultant. And so in that, I learned about how we're in a big scam, and my job was to just help people who had money keep their money, and everyone else just got fucked. And so I did that for a few years, and every time I would question, well, this doesn't make sense. Like, if we keep doing this, only the elite will have money. And that's just the way it is. So I left that about 8 years ago, and I was in vaping for the last 8 years. And same thing, you know, just constant lies, constant bullshit. I got involved in the gun industry a few years ago. Same thing. Then COVID comes along. Same thing. The challenge that we're in, though, is that they're so good at dividing everyone that we're not able to realize it's all the little people just getting fucked in different ways. And so what we've come up with, about a year and a half ago, we started a group. It's called Union of the People. And so the objective isn't activism, it isn't so much about being a voice. It's for all the little people to come together, and as individuals, we can empower each other. There's a lot of skills, there's a lot of resources, there's a lot of talent that's being fucking wasted. And what the shitty part of this financial scam is that it's so deep that that basically it goes so deep that we're not able to see what the true problem is. The monopolies don't exist because of capitalism. The monopolies exist because of the scam. And because of those monopolies, they have full control. So going into the next few years, obviously we know media is their tool. They use that tool to implement garbage, to implement lies. So I want to bring up, for example, like we've seen what happened with the unvaxxed, but we saw also in the last few years crazy things like the BLM movement, defund the police, things like that, and the whole objective is to break people apart. The police are not supposed to be against us. We're all the same. We're all working together in a way. But what's happened is there's a huge hostility, animosity that's been created, and in reality, it's not even true. For the most part, a lot of the shit they tell us isn't even true, right? And so what we need to focus on is working together. The way forward isn't so much like, in my opinion, they're doing these things, they know, they don't give a shit. They can do whatever they want, and what's the repercussions? What were the repercussions for the last few years? Our economy's in shit, the communities are all broken, we're on track to like record inflation. They scammed everyone in the last few years telling them, oh, 0 interest rates, you know, buy. This year, nobody can afford the fucking mortgages. Mortgage rates are 9%, that's crazy. We had credit cards 9% a few years ago. So what we're going towards is they're squeezing us dry. So we can complain and we can protest, but that's one aspect. We need to be vocal, let people know what's happening. But at the same time, we have to prepare for what's coming. When the UBI rolls around, it's either you have resources and connections or you have UBI. There's not really a third option. And so so we can protest what's coming, but we have to also accept that a lot of it will happen. Digital IDs are coming. The oppression will rise. They will start to make gatherings like this illegal. They'll call us all terrorists. They'll do these things. What are we gonna do when those times happen? Do we have people that we communicate with? Are we in good communication with police? The other thing that they've continued to do is break us apart. I think it's big that we find the key people who are not fully gone, police, nurses, government officials, all that things, and let's just start working together. That's the big takeaway, is work together, focus on the pillars: mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and financial health. And using the resources right here, that's how we can achieve those and become individuals that are powerful together.
Thank you.
I'm going to introduce you Rick and Maria. They are giving us an update on Sue Bonnie and CSAX.
Hello there. How's everybody doing today? It's early afternoon.
I'm very good.
You want to go first?
Yeah, so we're the co-founders of